The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
C.D. Lamb, touchdown.
Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Standback, Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Youmans.
It's a Minicamp edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, and the SWBC studios. Welcome in, everybody. It is our final show until training camp, and so we've got an hour full of nothing but red-hot fire for you going into minicamp for the Dallas Cowboys as they take the field here at the Star in Frisco. We've got Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Tommy Yarrish with Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans. We're rocking our fan-made Talkin Cowboys T-shirts. Incredible look. We haven't spotted these on the show yet. We've showed them off on the show, but we haven't worn them on the show yet. So we wanted to wear it for our last show of the year.
Undead stock these T-shirts today.
Nice. They're so good. They're so good looking, and
Isaiah's forehead is appropriate. It's proportionate, if you will.
You think so?
On this particular one.
On that one specifically?
On this particular one.
My favorite
on
part.
On the other one, he was diving in the back.
Not the case.
Sunroof top.
My favorite part of this T-shirt is like the hidden gem on it, and it's on the very back.
Behind the scenes.
Yes.
Best part. It says Beam in the back, baby. So always appreciate Chris Beam. Appreciate you guys listening in. Oh, yeah. But yeah, we've got some training camp preview. We've got a couple different thought process when it comes to minicamp and what to expect on the field over these next 3 days of minicamp practices. And then, of course, since it is our last show of the off-season edition prior to training camp, we're going to grade the off-season, A through F. What is each of our grades as the off-season is, I guess, for Talkin Cowboys purpose, finalized. And then we'll go into, of course, the 2025 season. Next time we're on the air on the West Coast. Patrik, let's start with some news and notes. What you got for some news and notes currently?
All right. So first and foremost, let's just go ahead and say there is still currently no motion on any contract talks. Obviously, the headliner is Micah Parsons. Stephen Jones did speak to it, but for the most part, he said he'll let us know when it gets done. Obviously, we'll know before he tells us it gets done because we kind of do that as a job. So, but as we have this conversation, there's been no motion. Negotiations continue. Good news in those negotiations is that Micah Parsons is, in fact, in the building for mandatory minicamp. So for those that may have forgotten, OTAs and everything up to this point has been voluntary. With mandatory minicamp, if a player does not report, they are subject to fines for each one of these 3 days that they miss. So Micah Parsons is in the building. Also in the building is another all-pro defensive player in Trevon Diggs. Diggs has been rehabbing and training in South Florida, per Brian Schottenheimer and per some of the videos that have made their way to Twitter. Looks like he's making some good progress. Brian Schottenheimer last week or so said that Diggs had a recent checkup here in the facility and that, quote-unquote, all signs are positive. Nice. So it looks as if Trevon Diggs is, in fact, attacking his rehab on his knee as the Cowboys need him to. He's in the building. Obviously, he's not going to participate with anything that the team is doing. He's going to be with Britt Brown and the training staff. Question will be, and we'll open this to discussion in a moment, what will Micah Parsons do, if anything, on the field? That'll be interesting because we know he's going to be in the meeting rooms. He's been in constant communication even when he was traveling during voluntary OTAs. He has his playbook. He's going to be talking to coaches and his locker room mates. But will he do anything on the field?
Because of course with Trevon, we know he's not going to do anything on the field.
Not at all.
He might be on the bands, and we can kind of see what he looks like there. But Micah's a different category. He's healthy. He should be on the field. He should be doing some stuff. What do you expect, Josh?
I mean, does he necessarily need to? I mean, do we expect a player of his caliber to miss anything on the field that would affect him week one. I mean, that's so far out now. I don't expect an issue either way. It's Micah Parsons. You're going to want him on the field, whether or not he's on the field the next 3 days or not. I mean, I think you're going to be like, yeah, we'll figure it out. But as far as participation in OTAs, it's kind of up in the air as far as I'm concerned. Minicamp, excuse me.
I feel you're 100% correct in it's Micah Parsons. Do you need him on the field during minicamp?
Would be great.
No, you don't need him on the field. Would
it's
you
June.
Like him on the field?
You're not
during
playing
minicamp?
Philadelphia tomorrow.
The reason you would like him on the field during minicamp is because there's been so much changeover with the coaching staff. You have a new coordinator. You have a new defensive line coach in Aaron Wycott. You have all these new pieces, including the new class of rookies that have come in, right? You talk about Donovan Ezraku and some of these other pieces. You want your defensive leader to be present, and he is, check. But you would like for him to also be on the field working with these guys at the same time. That is to be determined if you'll do that part.
Of course, I'm playing devil's advocate where I'm saying
Always.
you're not playing Philadelphia tomorrow and that kind of thing. But yes, you want your guy on the field. And I think at this point in time, the contract, I think all of us here anticipate the contract being done at some point, right? That's kind of where we all look at it. It's going to happen. It will happen. I don't even anticipate a holdout. I really don't. However, right this second could be where the leverage starts to shift a little bit because it's either going to go team heavy or Micah heavy. And that's why it's so important what happens today on the field. That's why there is so much microscope on what will he be doing. As a team guy, you want him to be here, be present, be on the field, be active, and be a leader because you want to see that moving forward. But if you're Micah, you're giving up some of that leverage going into those back half of the negotiations, aren't you, by showing up?
Absolutely. And, I think with David Mulligeta's clients, that's Micah Parsons' agent, they typically don't really do a lot of the on-the-field stuff when it comes to, okay, we're going into a contract year. We're trying to get this extension done. So I don't expect Micah Parsons to be participating on the field today.
Wow.
I think that's kind of the way this is going to go because, and you made a good point there, Kyle, it's all about leverage in contract negotiations, right? Micah Parsons and his agency and his representatives are going to have all the leverage here because he is an all-world player, an all-pro player, one of the best pass rushers in football. If you go on the field and risk that, by injuring yourself, you never know. We've seen it all the time with players where practice they get hurt and it changes everything for them.
Williams.
Exactly. Maybe not a player of Micah Parsons,
just simply saying
exactly.
It could happen.
Good point. Yeah. That's what's going to be the difference maker here. Is Micah Parsons is trying to get life-changing money, and you don't want to risk that whatsoever. And there's no point in risking that if you're Micah Parsons. So I don't expect him to be on the field. Go ahead.
Well, just as an evaluation from the coaching staff, I mean, is it kind of not better? I know you want him on the field, of course, but does that give you an advantage at looking at the other depth on your roster to see where we're at edge rusher outside of Micah? Because granted, at this point, I'd say you are in a better spot than you were last season, depth-wise at edge.
Absolutely.
And I mean, not to mention
Raku, Nealon's coming back, Williams coming back. You feel much better there. I still want to see them next to 11.
Of course.
I want to see them in comparison to 11 because you know what the standard that is being set by Micah. You know what he's going to do from a production standpoint. I want to see the comparison between those guys and the elite pass rusher that you already know is on your roster.
And how they work in tandem with Micah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we've also talked about the different styles that Eberflus is going to bring to the table from a defensive standpoint. He's a linebackers guy. He's a defensive tackle guy. We haven't talked a lot about what he does for his edge rushers. I want to see it. I want to see what that looks like, and he wants to see it, what it looks like with your best edge rushers available and rotating in and out. You're going to get plenty of looks preseason. You're going to get plenty of looks in the training camp-wise of your guys, of your dudes that are at the edge rusher spot. Micah is going to be Micah. I want to see him compared to Micah.
And in addition to that, I'll add that I want to see him on the field in real time, offering up corrections, pre-snap corrections, and advice to some of these younger guys that otherwise, he's going to have to wait until that particular series, that 7-on-7 is over, pull him off to the side and say, hey, this is what I saw. That's valuable or invaluable, actually, coming from a guy like Micah. But it's much more meaningful in real time when you can tap Easy Ezraku on the shoulder, pre-snap, and say, hey, this is look over there instead of look over here, move over here. That is going to be much more applicable to game time situations because that helps build comfort between you and those young guys. So that's another reason that I would like to have Micah Parsons on the field for minicamp. But again, Tommy makes excellent points. We all know this is, and perfectly said, this is life-changing money that's on the line, and we've seen time and again, and that's why I mentioned Sam Williams, not the same caliber of player, not the same situation. No. Nonetheless, Sam Williams on a non-contact drill in one of the first days in training camp, his season ends. So, of course, you never want to see that happen, but it's the reality of the sport, and that's something Micah and David, his agent, have to take into account.
Now, here's something interesting, too. When you think about this whole negotiation as a whole, when we talked to Jerry Jones at league meetings, he made it very clear that one of the things he wants to see from Micah Parsons in terms of taking the next step to prove that he deserves this kind of money is showing himself more as a leader. That's something we haven't really seen a lot. And everybody's leadership style is different, right? So Micah Parsons doesn't necessarily need to be a rah-rah guy who is, trying to fire everybody up and give inspirational speeches or anything like that. But Micah Parsons will probably be out there when we see him, when we go out to practice here in a little bit. When I say on the field, just to clarify, I'm saying he's not going to do anything in terms of
be in the snaps
11 on 11 or anything like that.
It'd be a pleasant surprise, but
he might do individuals and just light stuff. But what does it look like for Micah Parsons when he's not participating on the field? Is he just out there, or is he out there? Is he trying to coach up his teammates? Is he trying to give pointers here and there? Is he making an effort to, help out in any way that he can? Because it's very different, right? From just being there versus, okay, I'm actually going to try and be active. Right, be active and be an active teammate.
What would that look like? Let's say Tommy Yarrish is in the shoes of the front office. What would you want to see from Micah Parsons in that factor?
I think you want to see Micah Parsons talking with the coaching staff, first of all, talking with Matt Eberflus and understanding, okay, if we're in this situation, where do you want me to be? What do you want me to do here, right? Because this is a new scheme. It's going to be his third new scheme since he's been drafted. Yeah. So what does it look like? What's different? Here's what I'm seeing. What are you seeing? Things like that. He's got two younger guys in Marshawn Nealon and Donovan Ezraku that are still growing as pass rushers. One of them, Nealon, I think, you look at more as a run defender than he is a pass rusher. But, okay, how can we work on this or maybe use this move or something like that? I'm no edge rusher, so I have no idea what move he's going to coach him up on. But
you have some pretty nice bend around the edge.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I think you can get after the quarterback.
Well, you can see like when he's getting to the lunch line, when he's going to the specific lunch line, it's like barbacoa taco day. He's like, whoa, like, wow.
Quick moves, but speed is a concern, especially compared to one Patrik Walker.
It was last
We're going to put that to the test in Oxnard.
Last week when they had meatloaf and mashed potatoes, I hit a spin move, clubbed Kyle on the back of the head, and then I bull rushed Patrik.
Dwight Freeney style.
Yeah, no, it was.
Eberflus was sitting right there, threw a flag. He said there was holding on the play on me, so it was just insult to injury for me.
Right,
it was rough. I had to try and keep him from getting around me.
No, you can't stop me.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, really, it's just I think everybody's definition of being involved is different.
Yeah,
I just want to see him being active while he's inactive, if that makes sense.
Well, I'll also add this because while we're here pontificating on what Micah will do on the field, if he'll be on the field, I'll give you, ladies and gentlemen, a direct quote from Micah Parsons when I asked him not long ago, April, I believe, about his intent, because in December he said he'd be on the field for the offseason program in addition to training camp. Revisited this in April, and here's his quote, end quote, "I'll still be around. For me, I've still got to learn a playbook, and I'm not so much of an iPad person where I can just keep learning. I've got to walk through it. Ding. But maybe it's so much I might not be on the field part of it, but I'll be there learning, so that way I'm at least getting prepared to be ready for week one." If you read between the lines there, it really feels as if he's saying he's not. I'm pretty much saying he's not going to.
Oh, he gave you the plan right there.
That's it.
That's the
meeting rooms, playbooks,
walkthroughs,
all of that.
But
team drills, ixnay.
Yeah.
Is what it sounds like.
That's the answer to the test.
And to back that up, here's Micah Parsons from a week ago today when asked, will Micah Parsons be back next week? I'm preparing as if I will be on the field the first week of camp, but it's in the owner's hands. So he's preparing as if he'll be on the field, but there's no guarantee he is on the field. And if I'm Micah Parsons, I'm not on the field either.
Yeah.
When you've got that kind of a contract in front of you, I take no risks.
Is that disappointing, though, Josh, to think about?
Not at all. I mean, from a business perspective, I mean, this man is fighting for his contract, and if that contract is not signed, do not expect me out there, man. And unless it is,
I'm sure there are fans out there that are like, "Screw the contract. I want you to play football. I want you to be out there. I want you to do this, do that, do this."
I would argue, put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes where, like you said, one drill, first day one, a non-contact injury takes Sam Williams out for the year.
And remember, they're really close.
Exactly.
Both Micah and Sam are like this.
Yeah.
If you're put in that situation, that is endangering your career. If you don't have a sort of financial stability around you, that contract is still looming in the air. But granted, the executives are not on a timeline.
Yeah.
They made that very clear last year with CD. They are not on any timeline that we know of. Let them figure that out. And until then, don't expect me on the field. If I'm Micah Parsons, which I have no qualms about agreeing with his strategy there.
Same, nor do I. But I will give him extra
protect
credit
yourself
for showing this mentorship and leadership and being in the building and with these young guys in the meeting rooms and things like that when – really, he could go full holdout. Instead, it's a hold in.
It is, yeah.
It's a hold in.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give him credit for at least not pulling a full holdout. Not that I'm demonizing anyone who chooses to do a holdout because it's handle your business however you need to handle your business.
Same thing with CD.
But I am going to give him extra credit for showing up.
And another thing, if we were playing a game today and he decided to sit out, that would be another thing. But guess what, guys? We're not playing a game today. There's no game. It's June. We are fine.
And to Josh's point really quickly, when it comes to the executives, the front office not having necessarily, I'm not going to say they don't have a sense of urgency, but there's not a hard time or deadline for them because Micah is under his 5th-year contract. He is fully guaranteed $24+ million. Yep. And they don't need the cash right now because salary cap-wise, they have roughly $31 million in available. And they're not looking to make, as we have this conversation, we'll talk about in segment 2, they're not looking at the moment to potentially make a huge splash as far as something that needs a huge chunk of sums. And even if you did need the huge chunk of sums, you'd have the $30+ million in available. So, extending him to drop that $24 million to whatever it be, $8-9 million, you don't need that money. Yeah. Right. So there's nothing pushing them beyond the obvious, which is get your premier pass rusher locked down.
And that's especially if you consider what the Cowboys considered a splash in free agency or whatever.
It's all subjective.
It's all subjective.
It's all subjective.
The way that they view it as
their splash is different than most other people's splash. So.
Now, there could be a splash. It's the start of the summer. You could go straight into the diving pool. Deep in. There might be a splash out there.
You're about to get cheesy.
We're going to get cheesy, baby.
Okay.
When we come back here on Talking Cowboys, how could that possibly, the Micah Parsons deal, a possible new splash, play into our offseason grades? We'll have that in the 3rd segment. But let's talk about the potential splash when we come back right after this. If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, this segment of the show is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. Final show of the offseason and the final show until training camp as we get into Oxnard, California. We know there have been some stream back and forth. Don't worry, the full episode will be posted later. You'll have all of it to go back and watch afterwards. So go check out the full episode. We got the chance to shout out these T-shirts and talk a little bit of Micah Parsons prior to the stream stabilizing. Go check it out on YouTube, the Cowboys app, and on Twitter as well. A couple different comments to mention here. Since it is our final show, we appreciate the love from you guys. Randy's going to be our best comment of the day. He said, best knowledge of any group I've seen I've ever seen is what he said. Love the show, guys. And he also said Team Goku here for Pat.
Let's go. Kakarot.
I don't know what that means.
He knows.
It's Goku.
I don't, but yeah, get after it. Yeah.
Shouts out to my boy, Mr. Satan.
You know
That's
what?
my dude.
Just
or Piccolo. You said what?
I gotta get you one.
Majin Buu.
Or Kid Buu.
I'm gonna eat you.
I don't.
Dragon Ball Z.
If you feel lost at home,
anime guy Kyle Youmans.
Kyle is being very Krillin right now, and I don't like it.
I don't know what that means. I feel like
Kyle, big One Piece guy.
Did you just call me a slur? I don't know what that was.
It's E-class.
All right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
E-class.
All right. Melvin said cheese makes everything better, and we teased.
Not your playoff hopes.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Not when you go against the cheese.
Or the win.
He's talking about putting the cheese on your.
You can maybe sprinkle a little bit of cheese on that taco.
Blue
like
cheese, if you will.
Oh.
I don't know about
cheese.
I get what you were trying to However,
just the wrong audience.
Goat
strike one.
Speaking of cheese, the Packers.
Goat cheese.
Is he a goat though?
I think we're just talking in general.
The brakes.
Just talking in general.
The Packers have released Jair Alexander, corner, who played there for 7 years, had some success there. And, of course, every time a big name hits the open market, especially when it's a mirrored position of need for the Dallas Cowboys, which cornerback happens to be so, it's going to be a conversation. Let's have this conversation.
Let's.
Do you feel like that would be a good fit? Tommy, I'll start with you.
Well, just considering the fact that right now Dallas's cornerback room is so banged up, absolutely. It's a fit if he's healthy. The thing with Jair Alexander, he's missed 20 games the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He's only played in 14. So when you have an injured cornerback room already, and we've talked about it on this show where I think when Dallas is healthy, they've got a good cornerback room. They have a good room. They have good guys who can play on the outside. You have Deron Bland who can move to the inside. Versatile pieces everywhere, but it's when they're healthy. If you're going to add a Jair Alexander to a room that is already banged up and already going through injury struggles, I'm not sure how much that'll benefit you if he's not 100%, right? Because when Jair Alexander is 100%, and we've seen him in his past, he's a 2-time Pro Bowler. He's made the All-Pro second team a couple of times in his career. He's been really good. He's been really good.
He's torched the Cowboys.
The Cowboys a couple of times. Yeah. So you've seen what Jair Alexander looks like at his best. But if he's not healthy, then I don't know if you're really doing yourself a favor because, right, when everybody gets healthy, that's awesome. But if you're not there right now, which is where you need to be, getting ready for week 1 and getting ready for the start of the season, then I don't think you're benefiting much.
I think, well, looking at this, I did a little research into Jair Alexander, and no coach or executive has known prior connection to Alexander. Now, if you look at a lot of the free agents that the Cowboys have brought in, there have been connections in one form or another. Look at Solomon Thomas, who worked with Aaron Whitecotton. Nobody's there for him as far as previous experience.
He hasn't played with Flus. I mean, Flus coached against him,
which could be might be telling too. That it may or may not be a target right now. But there are also, at least for my book, 3 other names out there that I would look at before Jair Alexander.
Yeah, who are the names?
Spill it.
Russell Douglas.
Okay.
Now he had a rough 2024. But he plays the ball well. He had 4 or more interceptions in each of the last 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. That's a guy I would definitely look at over Jair Alexander. Asante Samuel Jr. is still out there, who was a serviceable. He had a serviceable first 2 seasons in the league. Mm-hmm. Last year was a really tough year, but a small sample size. He only played 4 games last year, and he's only 25 years, and he has a pedigree like Triple H. I mean, he definitely has it. I think there's a lot there, a lot of potential there. You like that? And
like that.
Another one would be Stephon Gilmore. Now, he's the devil you know.
Bring him back.
You know exactly what you're getting out of a Stephon Gilmore. The age is certainly there, but he's a reliable player with plenty of juice left. If you consider
he
the
played
safeties
well with Minnesota last year,
being able to help him over the top. I think that's another thing. Speed would be an issue there, but if he has good safety coverage, I think that's a better option than Jair Alexander today.
So my question to you on those 3 names, because you're not, and for those that are at home looking at it, you're not trying to replace Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, or Savone Revel. Those are your 3 guys. Right now, at least on paper, starter Revel, of course, is a big question mark off the injury. So is Trayvon, but he's got the pedigree to lean back on and the resume to lean back on. Those would be my 3 guys. So my question with those 4 names, I'll throw Jair with your 3 names, is are they better than what your depth is now? Are they better than Andrew Booth? Are they better than Keemon Hall? Are they better than Israel Mukwamu? My answer on almost all 4 of those, probably all 4 of those, would be yes.
Yes.
It would be yes. The only one that's kind of a question for me would be Kaiir Elam in-house, because I like what I've seen from Kaiir so far. And, of course, he was a second-round pick, a first-round pick, and somebody that could possibly be a steal in free agency if he ends up playing the way that he has through OTAs. He'll see the field quite a bit in minicamp this week too. That's the only one where I'm saying I'm not giving Kaiir Elam a spot on the bench over those 3 guys or under those 3
Just
guys.
don't look at that AFC Championship for Kaiir.
Yeah, but that's an AFC Championship. They did get there with him on the team.
Don't look at it,
I mean, there's ways to have that happen. So that's the one question mark there is where do they fit in the fold? Some of those guys might be above him on that list and some might be below him.
Okay, so my point to that, and that great names, by the way. So let me work it this way. I was and remain really high on considering a guy like Asante Samuel Jr.
I've always
said
been high on him.
This panel several times this offseason. So that's true. It's also true, though, that neither Asante Samuel nor Rasul Douglas have the NFL resume as far as individual success as Jair Alexander does. The only one in that list that does is Stephon Gilmore.
Right.
Not only is
long in the tooth.
Right. Very, because he's 34. Okay. Now, I would love to have Steph back as well. I would love Gilly back.
Locker room
love
leader.
Gilly. But I think that at this point in his career, a healthy Stephon Gilmore is not as good as a healthy Jair Alexander. And you can likely have Jair Alexander healthy to start on a 1-year deal that's not a lot of money. Okay, it's a prove-it deal. He needs to rebuild his brand, much like Pickens does, although this wouldn't be a trade, it's a free agency signing.
Sure.
So I would take, for those reasons, I would take Jair Alexander over those 3 names, although I am interested in those 3 names if you don't get Jair Alexander. Now, to Kyle's question about Kaiir Elam, I do like what I'm seeing from Elam. However, we're talking about what we're seeing from Elam in voluntary OTAs with no contact and minicamp to come over these next 3 days. We haven't seen him in training camp. We haven't seen him in the preseason. We sure as hell haven't seen him in regular season games in a Cowboys uniform in an Eberflus system. Okay, that's not to say he won't perform. What I'm saying is the Cowboys are not in a position to be able to be choosy about who they bring in, as far as when you have names like Jair Alexander or Rasul Douglas or Stephon Gilmore. Get someone in here and stack the room, because you have so many issues. Trevon Diggs, we know about his injury issue, likely won't be available to start the season and for several games thereafter. Kalen Carson, he's coming off a shoulder injury, should be cleared before training camp. We'll see. But again, questions on how soon he can get back to form, and what does his form even look like, because when he was healthy, it was up and down, and more down than up. Okay, we just talked about Elam, but then Josh Butler likely won't see the field for a large chunk of the season, if at all. He tore his ACL in December. It takes about 12 months to recover from that. The list goes on and on. You lose Jordan Lewis in free agency to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, I could go on and on. What you need to do is stack as much talent at cornerback as possible, premium talent if at all possible. And if you get Jair Alexander, cool. If you get him for 6-7 games, he's averaged 7 games these last 2 seasons. Okay, give me Jair Alexander on a 1-year deal for 7 or 8 games. I'm assuming Trevon Diggs is back for the remaining 7 or 8 games. You form them together, fusion dance, Goku and Vegeta, and there you go. If you roll Jair Alexander and Trevon Diggs together and you get one complete season from what would be a former top 5 cornerback, problem is probably solved, because your depth now becomes Kyer Elam. Kalen Carson has time to get, that rookie groove from out of there, because he needs to find a second-year groove, so forth and so on. So I am in on bringing Jair Alexander in over those 3 names you mentioned, but if you don't get Jair, at least entertain one of those 3.
Yeah, because you need some level of depth there.
You got to have it.
You got to have
one
too many questions.
One injury right there is going to be a question mark, and that brings me to the
to an already beat up room.
Not just
exactly.
That. Let's not pretend Deron Bland didn't have that foot injury that just popped up.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
All 3 of them had
football. If that happens right now with this current depth chart, not necessarily with Deron, but anybody you're trying to count on.
Yeah.
Oh
Here's why I'm not completely sold on the Jair Alexander bandwagon, and I've used this conversation before on the show. Right now, as it sits, your top 4 corners are coming off of a season where they dealt with major injuries. All 4. Bland, Revel, Carson, Diggs. And, of course, Revel and Diggs are still in the rehab process and working back from it. If you add Jair Alexander to the mix, that list goes from 4 to 5. Your top 5 corners have had major injuries over the last couple of years. And, of course, Alexander has missed 20 games over the last 2 seasons. So I would rather have somebody with a clean bill of health to throw into the mix and see if they can prove it in such a way. I think Alexander, when healthy, is a good player. Don't get me wrong. That's just a big caveat that I don't know if I can look at this room and have complete comfortability saying, cool, go for it. Let's go sign this guy, unless it is just a dirt cheap contract. But with the type of player he is, I don't know if he's in a position going into year 8 in the NFL to sign a dirt cheap contract.
The last thing the Cowboys...
It won't be veteran minimum, but
it won't be that. But I also don't think it's going to be
not going to break the bank.
A break the bank sort of situation.
Because you got $30 million sitting in your pocket.
The last thing the Cowboys need at corner right now is a when healthy guy.
Yeah,
that's the last thing they need. Look, like I said earlier, Jair Alexander, I would take him over the 3 names that you mentioned, just because.
I disagree.
That's fine. that's what we're here for. We can disagree. I would take Jair Alexander any day of the week over those 3 guys. I'm not as high.
All right, calm down, buddy.
Well, I'm just saying, when healthy, I think Alexander is better than all 3 of those guys.
But it's a when
healthy thing, and
that's the red flag that you're just deciding to wave in the air.
I only need him healthy for as long as it takes Trevon to get back, and then once Trevon is back, if Jair is still healthy, well, now you have. I'm not going to say embarrassment of riches, but you're kind of wealthy there at that point.
You feel much better.
Because right now you're poor.
You feel great, and you've got great cornerback depth.
I don't know if I can look at corner in the last couple of years, not even just last year, but the last couple of years, and say, oh, yeah, all 3 of those guys, once Trayvon's back, they're all going to be healthy. We haven't had that.
Right.
We haven't had the opportunity to see the cornerback group all be healthy. When one guy comes back, the other guy goes down, and that may not happen forever. But I'm not going to sit here and anticipate it to happen.
That's fair.
That's my biggest. You can't bet on it.
You can't bet on it.
And stack the bodies,
which is fine.
Right.
But I would rather stack it with healthy bodies.
Yeah.
He's healthy right now. healthy right now.
Is he? He's had a loose cheese wheel the last 2 years.
That's an inside joke.
If he is healthy and you can get him at a deal that's serviceable for everybody, do it. I have no issue with adding quality depth at any position.
Sure.
But here's the thing. When the Cowboys get healthy at corner, they've invested a lot in corner recently, in free agency, the draft, through a trade with Kyer Elam. It's excellent. The corners aren't going to get a lot of work because everybody's going to be running the ball on the Cowboys. They don't have any depth on their defensive line.
We thought that last year,
If I'm Dallas, I'm looking to add to the defensive line, I think more than I am at corner. Because like we've talked about, when healthy, I know that's a red flag of a phrase. When healthy, I understand. When healthy, they've got a good room. They've got a good room if they can stay on the field together. Those are two big ifs. But when you look at defensive tackle, right now you're probably looking at, Oso Odigizua and Mozzie Smith or Solomon Thomas as your starting 1-2. If any of those guys go down, you're relying on a first or second year player. I'm sorry. And those guys might pan out, and that might be great, but we don't know that yet. You don't know that yet. You don't have, aside from Osa and aside from Osa, you have a proven can-be difference maker on the defensive line. Mozzie Smith and Solomon Thomas have maybe had flashes in the pan here and there, but they haven't been consistent producers.
Here's the thing. I had 3 names for you available free agents at cornerback. There are not 3 names available at interior defensive line.
That's the tough part.
It's not the same.
Listen, here's where I am with it. Because, again, I want to bring this up again. We're not going to pretend that the Cowboys are cash poor as far as the cap is concerned. So we're talking about either A
empty pockets
or B, or they're not in that situation right now. So here's what I would do, especially in year 1 of Schottenheimer, because I love what the Cowboys have done this offseason in that they're really getting after it. They're getting after it. Talk about Solomon Thomas as a depth piece and free agency. Talk about the trade for George Pickens, blockbuster splash. Like, they're getting after it to try to set Shotty up for success.
Definitely more movement than the last couple of years.
A ton more movement, okay? Keep that energy, right? So bring me Asante Samuel on a 1-year, $3 million deal, but also bring me Jair Alexander on a 1-year, $5 million deal.
I'm 100% okay.
I'm telling you, do that, you still have a ton of money to handle your DT situation. Yeah, get a mercenary.
You're addressing at that point. You're addressing cornerback 4 and 5.
Exactly, and then you unleash them all in training camp and say, ask, who wants it? Who wants it? Asante versus Jair versus, hey, Revel, by the way, you want these reps? You're a rookie. You got to go up against some of the best to do it in Jair Alexander when he's healthy. So for me, I'm getting a guy like Asante Samuel.
That'd be the opposite.
For a total 1 year, $8-9 million.
And then doing that, one injury doesn't send you on a spiral.
Absolutely.
It does
this
not.
Is what I mean when I say just throw good talent at the problem.
With their 2 names, I think it'd take more than 1 year, $8 and $9 million combined. It's probably going to be more like 11 or 12.
You got it.
But you have it. And I don't think I would not shy away from making multiple moves at corner because that's my biggest concern.
There we are.
So if you want to make multiple moves at corner here and fight it out at training camp, give everybody a chance to compete, cool. Let's make it happen.
Now, just a question for Kyle. Yeah. You do that. How do you feel about not addressing running back at all? Before?
I hate it. Yeah. But, I mean,
would you take
back room? Yeah, I probably would.
Who's available?
Because
that you would,
the guy that I wanted signed with Houston
what I'm asking.
Yesterday.
Correct.
Yeah.
Go Dogs. And that was
Nick
my
Chubb
point.
Is who we're talking about.
That was my point because Nick Chubb was one of the, if not the top guy I wanted to bring in for the Cowboys. Well, he's with the Houston Texans now, so that's not a thing. So with Nick Chubb off of the table, I've looked at the list of remaining free agents, and I'll be honest with you. You might as well, you got to roll with who you got now.
Yeah.
And put that onus on guys like Javonte Williams to try to take the lead, and maybe Miles Sanders can be a contributor, and then look at Jaden Blue and Phil Moffitt. Look at these younger guys and say, okay, well, you got to go get it done. But then really, you're looking at your offensive line and saying, you got to help these guys.
There's multiple chances, too, to address running back. Let's say it doesn't work out initially. You can always try and trade either draft capital or if your cornerback room is back and healthy and they're all back in the fold, then you look at it and you say, hey, we have a surplus at corner. How would you guys like a Jair Alexander or like an Asante Samuel Jr.? We'll take a running back and maybe send you a draft pick.
Yep, trade deadline's not till November.
So there's a couple things that you could do there to address running back even after addressing corner. But if they're making multiple moves at corner,
do it.
And trying to address that spot, that tells me they're okay at running back. They feel okay at running back.
And if you had to take one over the other, you're taking cornerback.
I'm taking corner.
I'm more concerned at corner. I'm still concerned at running back. Don't get me wrong. But I'm more concerned at corner because of all the injuries and all of the what ifs. I hate
trying to piecemeal
win healthy guys. I hate that. But it's where we're at. It's where we're at.
But if you get 2 win healty guys,
it could play a factor.
Then they become one healthy guy.
Maybe they mash up together.
That's what I say. They become one healthy guy.
Form of.
Yeah, that's that one is that's Goten and Trunks.
Goten. When we come back after the break, Kyle Youmans will have his headset back.
We're going to talk off-season trades.
That was incredible.
When we come back with more Talking Cowboys.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Tommy Yarrish, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans. One of the sad parts about this being our last show is we don't get Isaiah Standback in the building.
Hate it.
He's out in the LA studios with Good Morning Football and the NFL Network. He's on all week long, so be sure to listen to him there. But while we have it, you know what? You can listen to him here too. Isaiah Standback's on the phone line.
Hey.
What up, Zay?
What's goody, y'all?
What's going on, dude?
Oh man, steady grind, man. Had the show this morning. Got off the air. Came back, got something to eat, about to get a little workout in, but you know I got to listen to my crew if I'm not physically there.
You are so right. Now, first off, what are you eating for lunch on the West Coast? What's
has to be a sponsor
today?
By the way.
Yeah, it has to be a sponsor.
I feel like Isaiah's going to eat some sushi.
It was actually breakfast. I just walked to the local bagel shop and got something. So light work. I got to get a workout in. You know what I'm saying? I can't let no seed get too far ahead of me.
Man, listen, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I don't think that's even close, Isaiah.
I wouldn't say that.
I'm still waiting for this race. We've got
exactly. That's what I want to see. I want to see that race between Tommy and young No C. That's what I have to see.
You're only using the word race real fast and loose here.
You guys already know how it's going to finish. So
a race implies it'll be competitive.
Well, he's got a
very
point,
true.
yeah, because he's going to.
We're gonna have betting odds and everything. You're not allowed to actually gamble on it, but
Yeah,
like the
please
betting
don't.
odds will
Please
be out
don't
there.
waste your money on this.
Yeah, I think it'd be something. It's gonna be a spectacle.
Tommy's really
I
going
can't wait.
Isaiah, Tommy's going to take me back to the hood days. He's going to make me take my shoes and socks off.
Yep.
Oh,
But you know, if I go
let the
barefoot,
cat-
yeah, you know what it is when we go barefoot, bro.
Come on, man. When you let the bear claws out, it's a whole different game.
Oh man. I'm sure you had a great show this morning on Good Morning Football, but now you're on the best show, Talking Cowboys. I want to give off-season grades. So this is our final show until training camp, as we talked about earlier. A through F off-season grades time. We're going to pot you down just for a minute, Isaiah, just because there's like a little background noise. I'll come to you with the answer in a moment. But Patrik, I'll let you start. A through F, how would you grade the Cowboys 2025 offseason?
Am I as a standalone, or am I comparing it to last year?
Whatever you want to do with it.
Comparing it to last year, it's an A.
Mm-hmm.
Comparing it to last year, and now I mean the distance in which the pendulum has swung from nearly complete inactivity last offseason, and really your only offseason or outside addition being Eric Kendricks, to this season, it's not simply who they added, but it's when they added, what position they added, and they've shown they're not a fit for
how they added.
Right. Free agency, but also mid-level trade, but also blockbuster trade. It's really an A for me as far as they've handled this. They're really, I'll give them credit for this. They're doing a lot. I'm not going to say they're doing the best, because where's Jair? Where's Asante? Right? I want to see a little bit more, so I'm not gonna give you an A+, but I'll give them, as a standalone, I'll give them a B+. In comparison to last season, I'm going with a full A over last season.
Okay, so your official grade for a standalone
is a B+.
Okay.
You know, that's hard to argue, man. Like, I think I was coming in here with a B- on the brain. But one thing that I kind of forgot to evaluate in my my grading was George Pickens, man. That was a huge thing to do after a draft where you did not draft a wide receiver, a position of need, and we were all saying that is your first-round pick right there. And granted, the players did not fall exactly how you expected or how you wanted them to. Consider the draft, consider what they did in free agency before the draft, and then now how they're building the team. And then not to mention, you bring in a Brian Schottenheimer, a coach that is on your team, but for all intents and purposes, he's winning the offseason. He's the way in which he speaks is just garnering a lot of praise from people outside of the locker room and inside the locker room. Clearly, he has a good head on his shoulders, and he's a leader so far. How does that look when we start, winning games or losing games, or however the season plays out? You have to say, at least right now, comparatively, at the end of last season, I would say B+.
Well, I must be the professor that nobody wants to have.
You grade on a tough curve?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is a C+ off season. I think that there are really, really good goods, and there are some really big lingering question marks that are still on the table for me. I think the good, you guys hit the nail on the head, George Pickens. I mean, that's exactly what this offense needed. They needed a guy opposite CeeDee Lamb to be able to handle some of that for them. I think they made some solid depth signings. I think if Kyer Elam pans out for you, that's a really good move. Depth is the important word there. I don't think they went out and got a lot of starting caliber guys. And to be fair, they have a lot of starting caliber guys already on the roster to where they just needed to add depth in case of injury if they were ravaged like they were last year.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I still think there are way too many, I won't say holes on the roster. I don't think it's necessarily a hole, but I think areas of weakness. Defensive tackle, the biggest one. I mean, what has plagued the Cowboys defense for years now?
Run game.
Stopping the run. I don't think they've done enough at defensive tackle to be able to stop the run. I don't think they have a great group in there. And that's not to say that those players can't develop and those players can't be great. Some of the younger guys can't step up and emerge into a role and be able to stop the run. But right now, based on what we know, I'm not necessarily inspired by confidence. Can that change? Absolutely. Is that something Matt Eberflus can change with scheme? Absolutely. But as it stands right now, I think defensive tackle, even before corner and running back for me, is the more important pressing matter of, hey, this is where we really need to improve.
Yeah. You've been on that from the beginning. You've said defensive tackle is just not there. And I tend to agree with you. I think it's just better built than some of the other positions at the moment because of the injury concerns.
Right.
But as soon as injuries happen in that room too, it's going to be added to the top.
It's going to be really bad. It's going to be really bad.
And the cornerback room is bad built.
Is bad what?
Is bad built. Is that what you just said?
Is that what you said?
I think that's what he's saying.
What I said?
I'm joking.
I'm saying.
I'm kidding.
I was like, what? With the injuries, it's just it's put up there with a couple nails and staple guns. Like it's duct taped together with all the injuries. That's
may I ask you this though? As far as re-signing Odigizua, do you feel that sort of like improved or kind of set the grade at, like you said, that C?
Well, it's one of the positive things they did.
Okay.
I mean,
so you that's a net positive for you.
Absolutely, yeah. If you keep one of your better players around, that's always going to be a net positive. Outside of him, we're going to ask Mozzie Smith for the third year in a row if he's going to take the jump. We're going to see if Solomon Thomas can continue to have. He had some of the best years of his career with Aaron Whitecotton in New York. Can he take the next step here, even though he's a little bit more undersized at his position? And then you're banking on 4 younger guys who were 6th, 7th round picks over the last 2 years to be able to fill in those depth roles for you. I'm sorry, to me, that's just not really a lot. That's just not really a lot for me. And it doesn't necessarily inspire confidence considering what they have put forth so far.
And this is why I can't nudge it to an A as a standalone item, because as a standalone item, there are still questions. We just spent nearly the entirety of the first segment talking about why we would, if we're interested in Jair Alexander as individual analysts, why that would be. And then Josh put up, 3 more names, which just lets you know. I feel like, and I don't like using the term unnecessarily, but I feel like the cornerback room is in dire straits as we have this conversation. That is extremely concerning. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like, yes, I could see them believing in Kaiir Elam, and before contact exists in the Cowboys uniform, he's trending in the right direction, but we can't rightfully sit here and say that we know Kaiir Elam is going to be the answer in the absence of an injury.
You like what you've seen
so far.
It's June.
Nobody's hitting anybody.
No.
Right? So because of things like that, you still need to address cornerback. I agree with Tommy infinitely. The depth at defensive tackle needs to be there. And I'm huge on Thoia, but again, this is a late round pick.
Yeah.
What is he going to give you over Justin Rogers? Don't know.
I'll add this. You know what makes corners' lives a lot easier?
Defensive tackles.
Pressure on the quarterback. It doesn't matter if you put Kaiir Elam, Andrew Booth, me, Patrick, Josh, Kyle at corner.
I think it would matter.
Well, it would. But our lives would be a lot easier.
I'm getting at least 1 PBU.
If
1 PBU.
I think we got to pump the brakes there, sir. I love you, but we got to pump the brakes.
Now you want to line up
after you get toasted.
Now you want to line up.
Do
you want to line up now?
No. I'm talking about NFL wide receiver against you. That's barbecue chicken. With all due
all I said is I'll get 1 PBU. I didn't say a pick 6. I'll break up a pass.
It's going to be an errant pass.
But
he'll be one of those that's sailed into the first row, and there's a big
I want Kyle as quarterback. I want corners. Line it up.
It's corners.
We'll go line it up outside. Let's do this.
You QB it. You wide receiver it.
I've got a football upstairs. Let's make it happen.
Thrust into this.
No, I think it'd be good social content.
Like if we lined him up against Jalen Cropper, are you telling me that he would get a PBU? Absolutely.
How many reps?
No.
That's you have 100 reps. You're not going to get 1.
We had this.
We've done this before.
We've done this before. And Jordan Lewis agreed with me.
Isaiah, your
confidence
is
not lacking, my friend, right here.
You're still on the line. What are your thoughts here?
Realism. I think when you say PBU in regards to my boy No C, that's pick your butt up. I think that's what's going to end up happening.
No. Zay, you had too much time to sit there and concoct that comeback. I don't like that. You had too much time.
I'm just listening here.
We're going to rewind the tape. I actually said that a minute ago.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
So he's a thief.
No, he didn't hear it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, in regards to the grades, man, I think Tommy's being harsh. I think you're being harsh.
Yeah, how many games are the Bears winning this year again?
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm just saying. Go ahead.
I'm so confused.
What a stray for Chicago.
I'm going to go with B+. I'm going to go with B+. And the reason why I'm going with B+ is because I like what they've done with their coaching staff. I'm heavily shading this towards the coaching staff. I like the fact that they brought in Eberflus. I like the fact they brought in Whitecotton. I trust them on the defensive side of the ball that if they feel as if they have a need still at the defensive tackle position, that's something that they're going to address once the pads get on. I think that bringing in Solomon Thomas and bringing in the linebackers that they did, I think they feel comfortable with their front seven. Don't forget they got Dante Fowler Jr. We still have You got Micah, you got Sam Williams getting healthy, so you have a lot of guys that can get to the QB. Obviously, everybody's concern, and always has been their concern, is the ability to stop the run. But I think that not only players have contribute to that, but schemes contribute to that as well. So we'll see. But I trust their expertise on defense, especially Eberflus and Wycott, that they're going to get that figured out. And if there's an issue, they'll address it, right? There'll be a trade during training camp if they're not seeing the production that they feel as if they have right now. Offensively, you guys mentioned, Pickens. You guys, obviously the addition of Blue. Hopefully, we'll see Kavontae Turpin turn into something offensively, so you can have a three-headed monster at the receiver position, along with Jalen Tolbert, who's going to be playing for some bread this year. He's going to be playing for some bread. He put his name on notice last year with the touchdowns, led the team in touchdowns, but he's going to be looking to try to make a splash and prove himself. So I like the offense. I like the offensive line. Holistically, I like the team, except for the cornerback position. That's where I agree with you guys there. I'm not confident right now. I believe that they have put together one hell of a roster of cornerbacks for the second half of the season.
Yep.
But I don't feel confident with the first half. And when you look at their schedule, you don't have time to be waiting for the second half of the season for your guys to get healthy. So I would like to see them be more aggressive in getting a starter from day one at that cornerback position. And then when midseason comes around, when all your guys are hopefully healthy, then you just have a heck of a competitive room, or you got some guys that you got to make a business decision on and you got to let one go. Yeah. But I'd much rather be in that position than to be in a position of just kind of crossing your fingers and hoping that one of the guys, Kyrie Elam, shows up and is ready to ball out for you day one.
Church. Right there with you, man. Right there with you. Isaiah, you're on all week. Good Morning Football, right?
Yes, sir. I'm here to Friday.
All the way through Friday. Watch them. Good Morning Football. What time does it start out here, Central Time?
7 a.m. 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time on NFL Network.
There you go. Isaiah, thanks so much. We appreciate you, buddy. We love you. We can't wait to see you back here, and then we'll get to talk some football come training camp. How about that?
Man, listen, man, we're weeks out, man. You guys go ahead and stretch them hamstrings out. I'm going to be Red G.
Hey,
I want you to line up too then.
Yeah, you're.
No, we're not doing that. Nah, if there ain't no check, I ain't running nowhere.
That's a man.
It is. It will be on your shoe.
As a businessman, business decision. Love you, Isaiah. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
Take care.
All right, fellas, go.
All right, Isaiah there. Just before we go, I'll give my grade, and I'm basing it off of, did this team get better from the end of last year? Mm-hmm. And if they stayed the same, I'd give it a C. I think they got better. I really do. I think they did the right thing at addressing wide receiver 2 in a big way. Bigger way than I even anticipated going into the offseason.
100%.
I think George Pickens is a home run. I really do. I think it's going to be a huge, huge success. We might be wrong, and we might be sitting here in the middle of November saying, man, that did not work out. However, I think at the moment as we sit here, I think that's the biggest move you could have made. I like the coaching staff, just like Isaiah said. I like some of the additions that they've made when it comes to the roster. Tommy pointed it out a moment ago. They have, when it comes to 1 through 11, 1 through 15 on the roster, you feel really good about your top 10, 15 players on your roster. You felt really up in the air about players 16 through 30 on your roster. And I think they addressed that spot pretty well. Then they really took 31 through 53, and they addressed that spot pretty well through the offseason. And they've got guys fighting to get into that 53 when it's all said and done. Are there still spots, defensive tackle, corner, running back, that I'm still concerned about? Absolutely. I think there's still work to be done there. And it might come just by guys stepping up. But as Patrik will remind me over and over again, you know what I hate as a strategy?
Hope.
I hate hope as a strategy. So as I'm looking at it on paper right now, I'll give this a B+. I think it's a B+ offseason because they did get better. They addressed some certain spots where other people are going to benefit from. Edge rusher, linebacker. I really like what they've done at linebacker.
I agree.
It hasn't been a big storyline. I like Kenneth Murray. I like Jack Sanborn. I like Maris Leofau going into year number 2. I like what I've seen from Damone Clark, and he's even going to have to battle to be on the roster when it's all said and done. So all of those things kind of play a factor in certain spots. Of course, wide receiver helps your tight ends, helps your quarterback, helps your offensive line, which, by the way, has been revamped because of your first-round pick in Tyler Booker. Give me a B+, and that's where I think this offseason is. Still work to do, but they've done a good job of making this team better. Are they still an immediate Super Bowl contender? No, they're not there yet, but we could be.
So we have 4 Bs and Tommy.
We'll see. What did you give it? A C?
C plus.
That's fine. That's almost a B.
No, I'm going to keep giving them a hard.
Gives them a pass.
Look, I think you're right. They got better.
They did.
I don't think they got drastically better.
Sure.
I'm sorry if I'm wrong.
Which is fair with a C+.
Totally fine. It would not be the first time, and it's certainly not going to be the last. So I'll eat my words if I need to, but I don't think they got better enough to the point where you're just blown away.
Yeah.
Like, again, the George Pickens edition, I like Kenneth Murray a lot. I like Jack Sanborn a lot. They've got a good staff for Brian Schottenheimer in his first season. I just don't think they took that drastic step, and there's so many question marks to the point where I don't want to give it a B or more. So if I'm the professor that nobody likes, that's totally fine with me.
The fun part is I don't disagree with him for most of it. I just felt like turning the screw a little bit.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's a little better.
That's what we do.
Be sure to follow online, DallasCowboys.com. You got two of the best beat writers in the NFL covering this team throughout the offseason. Patrik Walker, Tommy Yarrish. Josh is the one that puts it all together. He's going to be very, very busy throughout the offseason. So be sure to keep up.
Goats right here.
DallasCowboys.com, making sure that everything's there. Final episode of the Blitz this week, too, on the TV side of things.
And hosted by the best in the business,
Bill Jones. So, when we're back in training camp, though, we are full steam ahead, and we are going into the off season or the 2025 season with some fire. We'll be back.
Yeah. We'll be back.
Special thanks to all those that have stuck with us throughout the year and been active in the chat. We can't wait to see you guys again, and can't wait to see everybody joining in for the training camp fun out in Oxnard, California. For one final time this offseason, for Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Tommy Yarrish, Isaiah Standback out in L.A. For Chris Beam in the back, I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long from Talkin Cowboys. We'll see you in Oxnard.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?